All right. Welcome to SLS Together Weekend, session 3 for the hotspot topic of alcohol. I'm Dawn Flood, the program director with Student Leadership Services. And today, for our hotspot, we are going to talk about how to communicate your message. So session 1 and 2, we learned about the health and social consequences of alcohol when it comes particular to teens. If they use it. And so today we're going to learn how you're going to communicate that message to your peers. But before we do that, we have to have a little fun, because part of communicating your message is you have to have fun while you're doing it. So to kind of kick us off and get us started, I'll let Loretta introduce our special guest today. Loretta?
Hi guys, my name is Loretta. I'm a junior at Taylor High School and I'm part of the SAB board. And today, just to set your minds off, we have a very magical guest. Joel is going to show us a little mind-boggling, magical fairy dust presentation for us, so watch out.
All right, Joel.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Loretta. Hello, everybody. Merry early Christmas. I'm back once again to kickstart your mind with magic. But you know what? I've been getting tired all week. I'm actually not even going to do this trick today. This is the world's most dangerous card trick as performed by this guy right here on the front of the deck of cards. You guys see him there? Yeah, it's dangerous because he's standing right there with a handful of cards next to a dangerous cannon. As a matter of fact, every card has a drawing on it. I got busy with a Sharpie all last night. And this guy's going to try to find somebody's card out there in a very dangerous way. So we need somebody to pick a card. Ellie, how about you? Yeah, okay. Let's have Ellie pick a card. Don't pick an ace. Everybody always picks aces. Any card in the entire deck. What do you think? Shout it out loud. Unless she's frozen.
I don't even know what they're called. What do I pick?
Oh, is Ellie frozen? Why don't you repeat that card for us?
Which one?
Anyone you like. Shout one out.
Is it called a club? I don't know.
Sure. There's clubs in there. And yeah. Pick a value. Ace through king of clubs. Your choice.
9.
9 of clubs. Do you want to change your mind?
No.
She's going to go with the 9 of clubs. Very cool. There's the 9 of clubs. And so you guys don't forget it. I'm going to put it right here in my pocket just like that. Now let's see if my friend here can do some amazing magic. Watch and be amazed. There he is with his cannon. He's stepping up into his cannon. That's interesting. He's lit the fuse, throws the cards. He blasts himself out of the cannon. He catches 1 card. He didn't even get hurt. And he grabbed the 9 of clubs. He risked his life for your magical amusement. We did it. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you guys inviting me to be a part of your conferences this week. I'll see you tomorrow for the big finale. Until then, I'm signing off, kicking your kickstarting your mind with magic. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you, Dawn.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was kind of cool. All right. The whole card thing always baffles me of how he knows like what we pick and stuff like that. So cool. All right. So to get our brain a little working and kick starting. Oh, Maham's joining us. All right. All right. Hi, Maham.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Maham, you just missed the magic show. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm sorry. I couldn't find the link.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all right. If you join us tomorrow, you'll see a chance for the magic show. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what we remember from the workshop session 1 and 2. And I know Ellie wasn't there, so I need your help to kind of bring Ellie up to speed on what are some things that Loretta talked to us regarding alcohol. What were some key things? Who remembers? Marilyn, do you remember some key things? I know you got your notes there. Can we bring Ellie up to speed here?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Okay, so basically, alcohol can cause many things. For example, high blood pressure, memory loss. It can weaken the immune system. It frazzles your brain. You can get addicted, and you can miscarry kids. And it takes 2 hours to get out of your system. That's pretty much all I have.
Okay. All right. 2 hours. How many drinks for the 2 hours?
Actually, I don't have that written down.
Okay. Who remembers that? Loretta, how many alcohol drinks for 2 hours does it take?
It's one, right?
1, right? Okay, so for every alcohol drink that somebody has, it takes 1 to 2 hours for their body to process it and break it down. All right. Loretta, what are some other key things that you want to make sure that they remember from your first 2 workshops?
It has some major health effects, so it can cause high blood pressure, liver disease, types of cancers. You can have a stroke, or you can even cause you to have mental health problems, so leading to anxiety or to depression. And also like life affects school, how you're hanging out with people, how you're functioning in your regular everyday life. It brings down your grades. It's not good for you. And that you can get better from it and learn about it, even if like you see it a lot and in teens and at school, and we hear about it a lot. So it's better to get educated now and to know more about it and what you're getting into when you're older and what to look out for, and also dealing with peer pressure about people wanting you to drink and how to deal with it.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Loretta. One of the things about alcohol is a depressant drug, which means it slows your body down, slows everything down, which is why you shouldn't drive a car, operate machinery, and make any legal decisions after drinking alcohol, because it has slowed down your judgment and your reactions and your impairment. All right. So those are some key things that Loretta had talked about during her workshops in session 1 and 2. Loretta also had talked about peer pressure and how to get out of an uncomfortable situation. And so she had talked about how to say no and what those refusal skills were. Does anybody remember what those refusal skills were for those that were there?
Was it the 3 C's?
The 3 C's. Oh, she did talk about that. Yeah, Loretta, what are the 3 C's?
Wasn't it? Oh, I might have just forgot myself, but it was in the Millionaire Game.
Consequences, and I really don't remember the other ones.
Okay.
I just remember the 3 C's, and consequence was one of them.
Yes. Okay. So what Maham is talking about was Loretta in the Millionaire Game, when she was talking about alcohol, was the 3 C's is what you do when you go to make a decision. So it's the 3 C's of making a decision. First, you have to clarify the situation you're in. Then you have to consider the consequences, like Maham said, what will happen if you do that. And then the 3rd C is then you have to choose. You have to make the best choice for you after you consider the consequences. So good memory, Maham. Good memory. Excellent. All right. So yeah, so they learned the 3 C's before they learned the 5 steps to refusal skills. Marilyn, do you remember the 5 steps to refusal skills?
Yes, I do.
You do. All right. What is step 1?
What will be there?
What will be going on there? Okay, so you ask questions. Yep. What's going to happen? All right. What's step 2?
Does it sound bad?
Okay, so it sounds like we're going to be doing things that we shouldn't be doing. All right. What's step 3?
If I do that, then.
If I do that, then. Okay, so that's your consequence part, which Maham brought up. What's number 4?
Deciding to do something else.
Deciding to do something else. So this is your alternative. This is what we're going to do instead. And then, do we end at 4? Is there another one, Marilyn?
There's another one.
What is
and
it?
That one is, would you want to join me?
Okay, so why is number 5 there? What's the importance of number 5, Marilyn?
So you can get your other friend that wants to go like to that place to decide to change your mind and like do the right thing and not to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, excellent. All right, cool. All right. So Loretta taught us about the health consequences of alcohol, but she also taught us how to say no and get out of an uncomfortable situation if our friends ask us to drink alcohol and we know that we shouldn't. So excellent. All right, so that kind of brings us up to speed a little bit to session 3, which is today, and how you're going to communicate your message to your peers. All right, so I'm going to show you some samples of student created stuff, and these were high school students just like you that created either a poster, graphics, or videos, or even a story. I have a story that a student wrote on how they thought the importance, they wanted to get their message across. All right, so what do you want to start with? Videos, photos, or a story that was written? What do you want to start with?
The story.
The story?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So settle in. Okay, get comfy. All right. This is a story that was written by a 10th grader. Okay, 10th grader. This 10th grader went to Big Bay Denock High School. All right, which is up in the UP. All right. So the name of the story is called Hangover. So it's a story, so it's a little long. All right. So here we go. Hey, Melody. A familiar voice rang down the school hallway. Melody Palmer clenched her teeth and gripped the door of her locker hard. She would not lose control. She would not lose control, she kept telling herself. Melody, the voice came again, which was right behind her. Melody rolled around, slamming her locker. I told you, she shouted. Don't ever call me Melody. Andy, the victim of her outburst, threw up his arms in surrender as Melody lunged for him. Whoa, whoa, okay, Mel, he emphasized, the nickname she preferred to be called. Melody stopped. Her nostrils were flaring as she lowered her hand and she extended to grab Andy's collar. I told you not to call me that, she growled. Turning away, Mel marched toward her next class, which was biology. Andy followed behind her. Mel, are you all right? You don't seem yourself today. Mel scowled and sped up, hoping Andy would give up and stop bugging her. The truth was, she wasn't all right. Her head hurt so bad, her brain didn't seem to be working. Aches and pains coursed through her body whenever she moved. Maybe going to that party wasn't such a great idea, she thought, as she turned the sharp corner leading to the lab. But how could a couple of drinks mess her up so bad? It was just a few drinks, she thought. Andy was almost jogging to keep up with her now. Mel, come on. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anger flared up inside Mel again. No, I'm fine. I'm okay, Andy. All I have is a little headache. It's nothing. So I'm just fine. Leave me alone. Andy suddenly leaped in front of her. Mel was stunned with surprise for a moment, and she forgot that she was angry. Mel, Andy's voice was low and concerning. Tell me you didn't go to that party. When he didn't speak, he tried again. Please, Mel, tell me you listened to me and you stayed away from all that drinking. When she heard the last word that he spoke, it was like it was poison. She felt the heat rise to her face, and all of a sudden she felt a mixture of anger and embarrassment. She thought, well, maybe she'd tell him everything, how much she regretted it, how miserable she was right now, and how she never wanted to do it again. She started. Wait, she thought to herself, why should I tell him everything? Why should she tell him anything? He wouldn't understand. He'd just yell at her and condemn her. Andy, I just can't deal with you right now. So she pushed past him and into the lab just as the bell rang for class. She hurried to her desk and slumped over. She didn't really know why she was acting like this. She just felt so irritated with everyone and everything. Right now, she didn't want to talk, think, or do anything. She just wanted to sit here. Melody Palmer, she heard her name. Mel jerked awake and stared sleepily-eyed around the room. And she noticed everybody was looking at her. All eyes were on her. Some were smirking, some were talking about her. Then she noticed the teacher, Mr. Fortney. He was stern and forbidding and glaring at her from the front of the room. Excuse me, young lady, and just why do you think it's appropriate to sleep when I've made it quite clear that I do not allow such activity to take place in my class? He paused, waiting for her to respond. Melody couldn't exactly remember when she had fallen asleep or why she had been so tired. After a moment, she thought she'd better answer before she got into more trouble. I'm sorry, Mr. Fortney. I didn't mean to fall asleep. I'm just so tired today. I don't feel good. She thought it sounded a little cheesy, but every word she was saying was true. She was tired, and she didn't feel good. Mr. Fortney must have decided that she was being honest, and so his eyes softened a little, and his voice remained stern. Well, in the future, Miss Palmer, please remember the correct way to use your class time and sleeping time. Melody suddenly remembered with a pang of guilt just how unwisely she had spent her sleeping time last night. There had been a party with lots of alcohol. She had drank a little. Okay, so she drank a lot. She didn't really remember much past that, only that when she woke up in the morning, her head felt like it had been cracked open, like somebody had hit it with a sledgehammer. Mel left class feeling grumpy and out of sorts. She'd missed half the lecture on cells and would need to study a lot tonight in order to do well on the test tomorrow. But she was just so tired. Melody shook her head as if shaking off a bug buzzing in her ear. She needed to focus the rest of the day, and then she would rest later. Surely she'd feel better tomorrow, right? The time seemed to pass extra slow over the next few hours at school. And by the time school was out, Mel was even more tired and more grumpy. Andy cornered her as she was leaving the building. All right, Mel, I want you to talk to me, he said as he approached her. Mel shrugged and tried to hide her irritation, which she still amazingly had enough energy for. About what? She snapped. Andy looked her straight in the face and said, I think you know. I know you went to that party last night. It wasn't a question. Mel didn't meet his eyes, which only seemed to upset him even more. What? He shouted. You think I won't be your friend anymore because you got drunk? Shh. Mel looked around to make sure nobody heard it. Don't you see, Mel? I care about you. He calmed down a little, and this time she looked at him. Mel, I don't like see you hurting yourself like this. Now, Mel was about to get mad. She was about to flare up. Well, Andy, it's not like I'm a bad person. I only did it once, and it's not like I drink and drive all the time. It's not like anyone got hurt. Mel heard a sharp intake of breath as Andy turned away to face the wall. She stared at his back. What had she said? Why is suddenly he so upset? After a while, Andy turned back around and looked at the ground, and Mel saw tears in his eyes. And then Andy whispered, that's exactly what she said before she died. His voice cracked and he started crying. Suddenly it grew louder and he was shouting again. She wasn't a bad person either. She just made a bad choice. And it killed her. Do you hear me? It killed her. His tears were flowing freely now down his face. She got drunk at a party, everyone did, and she decided to drive herself and a few friends home. But she never made it. She never made it, Mel. Andy crumpled over and he just sobbed. Mel went over and placed her hand on his back. After a few minutes, he regained control of himself and he sat up and he looked at her. Mel asked softly, who, Andy? Who are you talking about? And Andy said, my sister. Mel just sat there with him for a long time. She had never known his sister had died in a drunk driving accident. Maybe if she had known, she wouldn't have. Come on, Andy. I'll take you home. All right, so that was a pretty strong story written by a 10th grader. So someone tell me, what was the message that you take away from that story? Anybody? Anybody? It was a really deep story. Are you guys all right?
Did you hear me? I was talking. I didn't realize I was muted.
Oh, no, we didn't hear you, honey.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't make bad decisions
Okay,
based on your peers.
okay. Don't make bad decision based on your peers. Anybody else? What did you take away from that story?
Basically, don't drink and drive. There are consequences. The 3 C's we talked about.
Yep. Okay. Consequences, 3 C's. Think about your decisions. How it can affect others.
She hadn't thought about how she could have been affected by that or others.
Yep.
She just did what others were doing.
Okay.
And a friend really cared about her, but she just ignored.
Okay. Yep. Anybody else?
That was a deep story. I mean,
Yeah.
girl. I would say not to be a follower and to be a leader, and to think about your decisions and how it might affect yourself and others. A little minor thing can cause a big problem. So
Yeah.
just you got to think.
Yep. Definitely. All right. Okay. So that was a sample of how students communicate their message so they're trying to get across to their peers, and that was in a story type. All right. So now I'm going to show you a couple photos. All right. And this is what students created to get their message across when it came to teenagers and drinking. All right. So this photo was from a student from Mona Shores High School over on the west side of the state. So can you see what's in the middle of this? What is it?
Was it a broken bottle?
It is a broken bottle. Okay. So what do you think the break the bottle message has to do with the broken bottle? What's that have to do with underage drinking?
Like a lot of at parties when like kids drink and bottles were broken, or like breaking the bottle so you don't drink out of it.
Okay. Could be breaking the bottle so you don't drink out of it. Okay. One way to stop underage drinking. All right. What about this one? Oh, I love this one. This poster was hand chalked. Yep, hand chalked. So all of this was with chalk. So tell me about this poster. What's the message in this one? This is my favorite.
Peer pressure.
And why, Maham? Why you say peer pressure?
The girl on the right, she has horns and she is basically yelling at her to drink it now. It says what harm could a little sip do? And the girl's thinking, who would you side with? Like, who should I side with? And the angel is the person that's trying to say, don't do it, put it down, just don't do it. But she's being peer pressured by the other girl to do it, to drink it. That it won't matter, but in reality, it matters a lot. It could affect you in many different ways. Yep,
absolutely. Okay. So this is a good demonstration of pressure. Okay. When you look at this, does it necessarily mean the pressure is coming from someone else for this girl?
No.
No, Ellie. So where would the pressure be coming from?
I would say herself.
Yeah, this is the internal pressure. Okay. So she may see her friends doing this, and she may be talking to herself and putting the pressure on herself. Her friends may never have asked her, but it's that internal pressure. Okay. So this one represents a lot of different types of pressure. Okay. Oh, I love this one too. This was hand painted. Okay. And so this was painted with black paint and then red and white. So tell me, what is this message about?
Drinking and driving accidents.
Okay, why? Why do you say that, Maham?
There's a road and there are squiggly lines on the road, meaning the person lost control of their vehicle, and there are drinks and alcohol bottles as, I don't know, buildings showing in the background, and there's just two different colors showing how they're clashing together, so that could mean that there's two cars.
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. All right, so out of those, what was it, 3 posters, which one was your favorite? Which one spoke to you the most?
The second one.
With the girl?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with the angel and the devil? Okay, yeah, that one's pretty powerful, right? Okay, all right, so now we are gonna watch a couple of videos that were created by students. All right, so let's see if I can do that. Again, these are created by high school students just like you. So they're not actors, they're not professionals. So this was from Lakeland High School.
Party. I can use it.
Hi, David.
Hey, David.
Football game.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, come on. Whatever.
So tell me about that one.
Like I said before, you have to be aware of your decisions, and one little thing, like one sip of that can ruin your life. And yeah.
Okay.
All your goals and dreams and aspirations will be crushed.
Yep.
Just by one mistake.
So going back to the 3 C's that Maham brought up earlier, okay, so you saw that side by side, when they made one choice, what happened, right? And then when they made another choice, what the outcomes were. All right, so it all came down to the considering what can happen. All right, let's see. What about this one? Go.
Hey Trev, what's up?
Nothing much, just doing my homework.
Hey man, you want a beer?
No thanks, man, I'm good.
Come on man, it's just a beer.
No way, dude, I'm not comfortable with that.
Whatever man, I'm out of here.
I'm really happy that you said that, because I wasn't comfortable with drinking that either.
No problem, man.
All right, so that was just your simple no. Okay, Miriam, go ahead.
It's basically saying it's not that hard to say no, and if your friend wants you to drink, just simply say no.
Okay, just simply say no. All right, and then this last one is totally different than the other two you saw. Okay, it's actually a little creepy at first. You'll see why. Oh wait, I have to share. Hold on. You won't be able to see it yet. All right, here we go.
Get back to bed!
All right, so that one was totally different, and I saw some of your faces like, so tell me, what was the message in that one?
Like it showed how having alcohol or adults or even people drinking alcohol in the same household as you has an effect on teens or young children.
Okay, yeah. Anybody else?
It's showing basically how somebody can change easily by having a bottle and drinking.
Okay, how it can change personalities. Yep. Anybody else? Okay. That video right there, we had a contest, kind of like we're doing now, you know, with you going to develop your project. And so a couple years ago, we had a video contest, and that was the winner. They won $750 for that video. Okay. The judges picked that. They thought it was a very strong message. So stuff like that. So I just shared with you samples of student created stuff, from stories to photos to graphics to videos, on how students can communicate their message to their peers on whatever topic. And so those ones were specific to alcohol and teenagers using it, as well as peer pressure and how to say no, which were some of them. All right. So how are we going to communicate our message? All right. So we've learned things. We've seen some samples. So how are we going to do that? All right. Well, whenever you want to get a message across to people, whether it's your your peers, whether it's your parents, whether it's your community or your administration, okay, there's key things that you have to put into your presentation, all right? And that is, what are you gonna say? All right, so that's the key part. What are the key things you wanna make sure that you get across to your audience? What are the key messages about your topic? All right, and so what are you gonna say? What are the key things that's really important to you? And then the second thing is how are you gonna say it? All right, and that's where kind of your nonverbal. So would you, dress up during your presentation? What would you look like? How do you want your presentation to look? Do you want it to be a visual, like a poster? Do you want it to be a PowerPoint? Do you want it to be a video? Okay, so how is it that you want to deliver it? So whenever you think of a message that you want to get across, you got to put those two things into play. What are you going to say? And then how are you going to say it? All right. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to break you up into 2 groups. All right. And one group is going to get the target audience of your peers. Okay. So what are the key messages you want to make sure you get across to your peers when it comes to using alcohol? And how are you going to say that? And then the other group, your target audience is going to be your administration, okay? So let's say you want to do this project at your school, you have to get permission. So what are the key messages you want to make sure you tell your principal of why this is important to you? What is it you want to get across to them? And then how are you going to deliver that, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Thumbs up if you understand my directions. Awesome, cool. All right, so let's start with the peer group first. So your target audience was peer, okay? So what are the key things that you wanna make sure you get across? What are the key messages? What are you gonna say? Who's the spokesperson?
Me, I am.
Miriam? Okay, Miriam's the talker. All right, what do you guys got?
We want to let them know about the effects.
Okay.
About drinking and driving.
Okay.
The history and stuff about alcohol. And peer pressure.
What about peer pressure? What about peer pressure?
Like what peer pressure can lead to and like ways to say no and stuff.
Okay.
And then we also said, we're talking about human.
Talking about what? What was the last part you said, Loretta?
Sorry, but I was saying, it's okay to say no. That was one of them too.
Okay, so getting across that it's okay to say no. You don't have to follow the crowd. All right. Anything to add, Ellie?
Just about how we're going to be going about it. We thought that we wanted to make a video and put it on social media platforms and or make like a social media page, just because a bunch of teens are on social media and pay attention to social media based things. So.
Okay. All right. So you want to reach your peers where they're at, right? And you know they're online. Okay. That would be a great place to start. Okay. Awesome. What about how you gonna say it? What did you guys talk about or decide on that?
That we were gonna make a video.
Yep.
Create a social media page and put a lot of information on that.
Okay.
Create a slideshow / presentation. And we could also create a workshop just like this, whether it be in person or online.
Okay. All right. And what would be the incentive for your peers to come to your workshop? Like, why should they? What's in it for them? The kind of the with them. What's in it for me?
Like learning about alcohol, or like there could be prizes also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, prizes, right? Okay, cool. Good. All right, good ideas. All right, what about the administration target? All right, so what are the key things you're gonna say? And all 3 of you are talking, because Maham said that's the rule. So who's starting?
Yeah, you guys are not getting me stuck in this all by myself.
So who's starting?
Yeah,
will.
Izzy.
Oh, Isabel's gonna start. Okay.
I can do this. So we talked about how, let's see. Okay. So like, okay, maybe I'm not starting. I just forgot. No, I could do this. Okay. Oh, so we talked about like what age kids start drinking in high school.
Okay.
And like, I guess how many high schoolers go to parties and do drink, and then they end up either riding home with their friends who have also been drinking, or like riding home with like friends in the car when they're driving, like they themselves are. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of all I got.
Okay. All right. Marilyn or
So yeah, we basically talked about how alcohol can affect you based on like where you grow up, like abusive household, and people lash out, their behaviors change. And the thing is, we could hold presentations or some sort of events to gather around the young people. We didn't get time to discuss what's in it for them, but something we could do something to attract them in, or have assembly to, you know, just spread awareness, because we can't really change the way what they're gonna do, but we could at least try to change the way they think about things.
Yep. It all starts with challenging their thoughts. Once you challenge somebody's thoughts, it's going to change their behavior. Okay, that's 100% true. It starts with challenging their thoughts. All right, Marilyn, anything to add?
Okay, sure. Okay, so basically for the key things, basically we wrote like facts, like, you know, 40%, like how it's like 40% more likely to happen, like for you to start drinking if it runs in your family.
Yep.
How fast it could easily change your life.
Okay.
And for like the how to say it, we basically said like presentations or like videos and pictures of like what could happen and like how it can change your life. And like like how Maham said, we didn't discuss like how it would benefit like both like the school or like the students.
Yeah.
Basically, it will change their life into doing the better. So like kids could actually have like a future and do something bigger in life. And like for school, basically, like they'll have like the students actually going to school and learning and being successful in life, and like they'll be getting the credit for that. So yeah. And Isabel and Maham, you guys are right. I know everything.
You're a good note taker, Marilyn. Good note taker.
I think that just proves to you that she's just better in your group. Sorry.
So one of the key things that I think would be important to when you're trying to get your message out regarding alcohol is that because both groups mentioned something about drinking and driving. And I know that we saw a couple of videos that were focused on that, okay? One of the key messages you want to get across to your peers, and also keep in your back of your mind, that if you find yourself in a situation where somebody was your ride, okay, and they were drinking alcohol or using marijuana or other drugs, the important thing is not to get in the car with them, all right? And so the message to your peers and to yourself is help them find who is a trusted adult that they can reach out to call for a ride, okay, and to have a plan. So a question I'll ask all of you is, who's your trusted adult? So let's say you find yourself in a situation where somebody was your ride and they are under the influence of alcohol or marijuana. And now you know you're not supposed to get in their car. Who's your trusted adult that you can go to and say, hey, I need a ride? Ellie.
My dad.
Okay, dad. All right. So dad knows that you can call him, text him, and he's going to come get you. Right? Awesome. All right. I got
3.
All right.
I got all three. I have my uncle / godfather.
Yep.
I have my dad.
Yep.
And I have my mom.
Yep. Excellent. All right, Miriam, who's your trusted adults?
My sister.
Okay, sister. All right.
And brother.
And brother. Okay. Maham, who's your trusted adults?
My mom and my dad.
Mom and dad. Okay. All right. Marilyn?
Mom, dad, brother, and like aunt and uncle.
Okay. All right. Loretta?
My mom, my aunt, my older cousin, and then Dawn.
And Dawn. Okay. All right. Excellent. Very good. So I think that's one of the key things you might want to put into your message is, helping them identify and remind them, to call someone. Don't get in the car. All right. And if they find themselves where maybe they made the choice to drink themselves, okay, we all make mistakes, that they shouldn't drive, they can call someone, okay, and help them identify that, who their trusted adults are. So that's really, really important, okay? And adults do the same thing, okay? Adults do the same thing. They call another trusted adult if they find themselves in a situation. So awesome, excellent. All right, 4:59. All right, I better wrap up. All right, so that concludes session 3 of communicating the message for the hot topic of alcohol. And so our next session, session 4, which is gonna be on how to plan a project, okay? So between now and January 15th, okay, January 15th will be our next session. I want you to start thinking about what kind of project do you want to do, all right? Because when we come together in January, we're going to talk about how are you going to build that project, okay? What are the steps to planning it? So kind of think about what it is you want to do, and it could be a bunch of things. It doesn't have to just be one thing, because remember, your goal is you want to develop this model project so you have a chance to win that $500 scholarship. All right, so that's what you want to do. And then remember, you can kind of decide, is this your project something you want to do with a group? So let's say there's a couple of you go to the same school, Clarenceville. So maybe Clarenceville wants to plan and develop their project as a group, all right? Or you could do it individually. Maybe you do it as a group, and then maybe Ellie says, well, I want to do something on my own, okay? You can do that too. So a couple things to think about. Awesome. So